Welcome to Listertainment, a channel whose name provides huge expectations, but it never meets them. So in today's video we will see 10 fights where David was able to beat Goliath. In other words, 10 extremely unfair fights, where the smaller man was able to defeat the much larger man. Every time I see the difference in size of these fights, I always think about how it might be possible to beat someone so big. How can you take their punches or overcome their amazing size? But I guess great training will always beat the size difference. If you like this video, please give it a like down below and subscribe. And also turn on notifications. And if it were possible to see more fights like these, who would you like to see fight? If there were no barriers, I would like to see Lomachenko go against Muhammad Ali. It would be awesome to see their ability to move in the ring. Here we have Giant Silva, who was 7 foot 2 inches tall, taking on Managua, who was only 5 foot 10 inches tall. Silva also outweighed him by 100 pounds.
Forward roll by Managua right into the single leg, and he takes Giant Silva there.
He's got to be careful here, Silva does, because the Punk's got a great heel hook. A good job of holding off. He's got to get his hips in.
Neutralizing Managua's left arm there, and he does seem to be breaking him down with those knee strikes to the side of his body.
It's just like in boxing. You can soften a guy up if you keep getting him some knee strikes.
And now he's going left and right with the knees to the head of the opening round.
The so-called giant killer Managua had no problems taking Silva to the ground, using a single leg takedown. Once on the ground, Silva was never able to move from where he landed. He was unable to use his strength to take Managua off of him and just took hit after hit, until a knee to the face caused him to tap out. Managua's control of Silva was absolutely amazing. Here we have the fearless and amazing Federer Emelianenko, with a height of 6 foot and a fighting weight of 240 pounds, this time taking on Indian Singh, who stood at 6 foot 5 inches with a similar weight of 240 pounds.
Хорошо раскачивает на ногах, клинч, посмотрим. Не удалось зацепить правую ногу индуса. Хорошо бьет руками в ту. Сингh выглядит интереснее, справа здорово попадает, слева начинается серия ударов Федора. Федор сваливает соперника. Ну что ж, теперь начнутся уже. Здорово, право попадает. Хорошо, попадает слева. Жесткий такой короткий удар. И тут же, вот тот самый граунд. Все по правилам. Ну вот, наверное, похоже, что все в нокауте уже, Джайди.
Showing no fear or caution, Federer goes after Singh and gets great hits to the head, which made it really easy for him to grab him and take him to the ground. From there, he maintained control of Singh the entire time, moving on top of him from side to side like it was nothing, getting hits in from every direction, until Singh made a mistake and allowed Federer to get into this dominant position, which allowed him to take his time until he systematically destroyed him. Mike Tyson is one of the best heavyweight boxers of all time, and standing at 5 foot 10 inches makes that even more incredible. His weight was 250 pounds during his boxing career, and here he fought Scavs, who stood at 6 foot 5 with a weight of 250 pounds.
Tyson already coming in, got in a short left hook. There's the big left hook, and that rocked Sammy's Scavs early.
It sure did. There's a right hand. He's
body into those punches.
You got to watch this one real close.
Blood coming from the nose of. Blood just pouring down from the nose of Sammy Scavs.
Tyson does not throw wild punches, Sam. That's
big left hook.
Many of Tyson's fights look like this, as the heavyweight division usually has very tall fighters, but he was able to dismantle most of them. In some moments in the fight, Tyson even had to jump a little bit in order to be able to reach Scavs' face, which he was able to destroy pretty quickly into the fight. Tyson's incredible head movement and power is really scary to see, and that gave him an incredible advantage against his much bigger and slower opponents. This fight was not even close. Bob Sapp was an MMA fighter who fought a lot in Japan and has a record of 24 wins and 39 losses, which is not very good. But you figured he had a good chance when he fought Kharitonov, who was only 5 foot 10 inches and weighed 154 pounds, while Sapp, he was 375 pounds and was 6 feet 5 inches tall.
Egészen hihetetlen képeket látunk. Ott van egy térd. És lenn van boxer. Mi történt? Mögötte megőrülnek, főleg a hölgyek is, és megint nem van Scavs. Hivadar. Kiesnek a ringből, hihetetlen. A bírót is elküldön a boxet, megőrült. Én azt gondolom, hogy teljesen...
Csak nem lesz belőle. Hivadar nagyon jól csinálja, nagyon jól csatja oda, amit csak kész vége!
At first, we can see Sapp doing the obvious and trying to use his bigger size to get a hold of and control his opponent, and even got a great knee in. But what I noticed with Sapp is that once he gets hit, he seems to lose all confidence, as can be seen as he goes down by a kick that didn't even seem to land with very much force. Once they restart for the final time, Federer was somehow even able to push back Sapp and ended the fight with a huge elbow. Is it just me, or does this fight seem a little bit fake, especially with a ref being shot? Also, Sapp's punches are horrible. Mighty Mo was a kickboxer from American Samoa who fought at 287 pounds with a height of 6 foot 1 inch. Here he took on Kharitonov with a height of 5 foot 11 inches and a weight of 175 pounds. The difference in height is negligible, but the weight difference is over 100 pounds, which gained Kharitonov the name of Giant Killer. The size difference is easily visible, and although Kharitonov was trying to do the right thing by fighting Mo at a distance, he still got in close and got incredibly hard shots. But this meant that he had to take some pretty hard shots back. Mo definitely thought that kick was going to his body, especially because the way it was thrown was pretty weird. He also didn't help himself by ducking down a little bit, which allowed the kick to hit perfectly, knocking him out. Schilt is a giant in this fight from the Netherlands, standing at 6 foot 11 inches and a weight of 287 pounds. He was taking on Kharitonov, who is also a very big guy at 6 foot 4 inches and 265 pounds, but you can clearly see the huge difference in size. The huge difference in what makes this fight difficult is the incredible reach advantage that Schilt has, which he tried to use, but Kharitonov was able to get past it after catching one of his kicks. Aside from this moment where Schilt is able to push Kharitonov off of him, the smaller guy has a much better ground game and is able to put his opponent in the worst possible position. You are completely helpless in this position, and Kharitonov is able to do whatever he wants, and he ends the fight. Royce Gracie, one of the most influential figures in the history of the MMA, decided to show off his jiu-jitsu against sumo wrestler Akebono. Gracie, who was 6 foot 1 inches and 176 pounds, took on Akebono, who towered over him at 6 foot 8 inches and absolutely eclipsed him with a weight of 551 pounds. Starting off, Gracie took him into his guard, which is where he feels most comfortable, but taking 551 pounds right on top of you was probably not very pleasant. But then again, maybe he liked it since he did it twice. Of course, this was his plan all along, as he was setting up his incredible traps for Akebono, which he fell for incredibly fast. He twisted and mangled his arm and ended the fight in a fashion that is all too common for the best jiu-jitsu practitioners. He must feel so comfortable with the style to want to do this, since in most of the other fights on this list, everyone tried to avoid being on the bottom. Now let's take a look at this fight that occurred in 2003, when the 5'9" Genki Pseudo took on 5'11" Butterbean. Height-wise, not much difference, but Pseudo only weighed 160 pounds, while Butterbean tipped the scales at 425. As we can see, Pseudo did the right thing by staying away from Butterbean for most of the fight, picking his moments and getting some quick shots here and there. When he finally took him to the ground at the end of the first round, he put Butterbean in an ankle lock, but unfortunately time ran out. In the second round, he tried a flying kick, but it had absolutely no effect on Butterbean, who took him to the ground and dropped his 425 pounds right on top of him. That must have hurt. But from here, Pseudo was able to put him in another ankle lock, and this time he ended the fight. This is the biggest size difference on this list, where Daiichi Takase at 6 foot tall and weighing 169 pounds took on the massive sumo wrestler Yarborough, who was 6 foot 8 inches tall and weighed in at an incredible 600 pounds. This was an incredible mismatch.
Takase is going to be in a world of trouble. But it's been a very... It would jump up on the... No! Don't go for a single! Oh, you got to be out of your mind! He nearly broke his neck! No! This is horrible. This is like Jaws. This is like Jaws. This is like Jaws. Out of there, fight for his life. Armbar. He's going to try to armbar him. He can't go for an armbar. Put his heading down. He's crazy. He's got to get out of there. Boom. Look at it. Oh, that hurts. He's got to get out of there.
Of course, Takase fought from the furthest distance possible, just taking small shots at Yarborough and running for his life every single time. He did everything possible to not get caught by the sumo wrestler, and so he made what could have been an incredible mistake. He decided to take Yarborough to the ground by grabbing one of his legs, but he couldn't move it at all, so Yarborough just fell on top of him. Yarborough tried to get further on top of Takase, climbing up his body like a snake that is trying to engulf its food, but Takase fought to get away. He was probably able to escape thanks to all the work he did while they were standing, as Yarborough was sweating like crazy, which made it easier for him to slide out from under him and just beat the crap out of him after he couldn't move. Let's finish this list with one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time in Federer Emelianenko. His career and impact on the history of MMA has been extraordinary. Here he took on Cho-Hung-man, also known as the Korean Monster. Federer, like mentioned before, is 6 foot tall with a weight of 240 pounds, while Choi is 7 foot 3 inches tall and weighs in at 353 pounds.
He's got it. Going for the armbar. He's got it. Going for the armbar. Choi pulls loose. Man Choi. He's trying to do a salvo trip. He can't do it because he's just so big. And Choi again on top. You see this. Look at the mammoth fist here of Man Choi. Again, Fado going for That's it. He got it. He got it. He's got it.
Height-wise, this is the most incredible thing to see on this list. It looks like a kid trying to take on an adult. And then here, when he tries to get the armbar the first time, his whole body is hanging onto his arm and Choi lifts his 240 pounds off the ground like it was nothing. This moment is just wow. Just wow. Twice Choi had Federer beneath him, allowing him to rain down some great punches, but twice Federer was able to get him into an armbar, and he did not miss his opportunity the second time. Federer was just an incredible fighter. Weight divisions exist for a very good reason, but when MMA started, one could see these types of fights all the time. This really allowed fighters to show off their skills against all kinds of opponents, which allowed us to see which martial art was truly worth learning. I wish that fights like these occurred more frequently. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next time.